So, hi everybody. I'm
Hi.
Christian, and thank you for joining us for our second episode of Entrepreneur Organization of Oklahoma City presents Unparalleled Leadership in Unusual Times. Before we get started, mute your phones, please. We are going to be recording this session, and it will be made available online. So don't say anything that you don't want recorded and out there in the interwebs. Today, our panelists are Chad Brooks of Accelerated Dealer Services, Vahid, how do you pronounce your last name?
Vahid Farzana. Don't worry, I'm still trying to figure out how to pronounce it myself.
Very good. Freestyle Creative, Cody Blake of Liquid Fish, and Kim Cook Thompson of Cook Communications. So I'm going to turn it over to Kim to get things started. Kim, give us your wisdom.
Thanks, Christian. Do I need to introduce myself? I mean, I kind of feel like I know everyone here.
Yes, please.
Okay, so
yes, please.
Hi, Stacey. So I'm Kim Cook Thompson. I am the founder and owner of Cook Communications, which is a strategic PR and digital media firm. We've been in business for about 15 years. And I just founded a new company in August called Oros Analytics, which is a marketing measurement company. So we measure marketing up against your sales revenue and any other data you want to share with us. And so we just launched that in August. So I'm going to go ahead and start. And Emily, I'll just tell you, okay, well, there you go. There you go. Thank you. Now I got to get out and find my notes here. So I was asked to talk about your best marketing investment right now and potential opportunities. And so obviously, as we all know, that from a marketing standpoint, people's attitudes are changing significantly and their behaviors are changing significantly in this pandemic. And so in my opinion, what you're seeing is a digital transformation that's been accelerated exponentially. And so I think that means as companies, we have to be more relevant now and more supportive now of our audiences in the channels where they are, so that they'll remember us and want to work with us in the new normal, assuming they're not working with us through this effort. So that said, I'm not saying that you want to shift who you are right now just to garner support afterwards, but you need to lean into who you are as a company. And so now is the time to do that, obviously. So if you're showing the consumer how you're aligning your product or your service with the situation in a meaningful way, a great example of that is the vodka company, I think in Guthrie, that's turning in, making hand sanitizer now. Another good example is my insurance company, who's offering me like a 25% discount on my auto premium. It totally surprised me and delighted me with that. So those are examples of what I'm talking about. Before I go into the 8 priorities, I want to talk about a study that I read just recently that was done during the Great Depression. And it looked at revenue performance. Oh, I'm sorry, I jumped ahead. I have to mention this because I think other marketing firms that are here will agree with me that a lot of times when we have customers or clients or prospects that have a revenue downturn or an economy downturn, the first thing that they cut is their marketing budget. And I think that's because people have a tendency to believe that marketing is a luxury and not a necessity in their business. But if that was ever true, I just don't think that is true today, because you can't be seen, much less heard, in today's digital market if you don't have a marketing budget, if you aren't spending something on your business digitally, at least. But I do want to talk about the study that I read about. It was done during the Great Depression, and it looked at revenue performance on 3 different types of companies from a marketing standpoint. Those that didn't believe in advertising, those that cut their advertising during the Depression, and those that increased their advertising spend despite the decrease in demand for their product. And so it's not surprising that those that increased their marketing spend had sales that were that grew faster than their competition, both during the Depression and after. But I thought it was really surprising that the companies that cut their ad budgets underperformed compared to the ones that never advertised in the first place. I thought that was interesting. It speaks to the benefit of brand awareness. Even though there's less demand, it will carry you through on the other side. And one other reason I think you should consider spending now is that advertising right now can be less expensive because your competitors and other companies are pulling back on their ad spend. So you're not bidding against each other and driving up the cost of, say, your paid search, which Vahid's going to talk about. So the top priorities that I have, marketing priorities to execute in a downturn. Number one is the least sexiest, but the most important, in my opinion, and that is to revisit and revise your goals and your strategy and your roadmap. So if you don't have goals, and I'm assuming this is EOS, I'm assuming that you all do, but if you don't have them, now would be a good time to build that strategy and plan where your marketing falls in that strategy. But if you had a revenue goal and you have to adjust it, obviously now is the time to also adjust your marketing strategy and figure out where are your customers and what channels are they in? Are they in your CRM? And who in your company is talking to your customers? And how are you tracking success? So now is a great time to revisit those goals and build out that strategy. The second one, also important, is don't cut your marketing spend to zero, but maybe reallocate it. So there's an Ogilvy study done just recently that said that 84% of consumers they have surveyed have tried a new digital product or service during the last few weeks of COVID. So that's, again, a huge indicator that maybe some audiences that you've dealt with in the past in traditional channels are moving to digital channels. They're using stuff like DoorDash and Uber and not Uber, DoorDash and other digital products. So now would be a time to do some keyword research around your product or service and shift your ad spend to digital media and SEO. Again, Vahid's gonna go over that. And I think Cody might do that as well. Number three, leverage your CRM to activate your existing customers and get new ones. Again, most people are on their phones or on their computers at home. And so if they're not buying, or if they are buying, how can you improve the digital experience with your company? I would look at your customer complaints and see how they're being handled. If your staff has more time now to spend delving into why are people complaining or what are they complaining about, what can you do on your processes to change the customer and their experience with your company online. Now is a great time to do that if your staff has time. It's also a good time to dig in and say, well, what do we have on the back end from a process standpoint that we may need to change in order to build this out for our customers and change that experience. Number four, review and refresh your content and customer engagement plans and build a new strategy for the new normal. I think there was a question about, I can't remember, it was how to sell to customers without sounding pushy or out of touch. This point refers to that. So if your content was planned ahead of time and it was just pure sales content, you're just talking about your product or your service without mentioning what's happening out there, then you're going to come across as tone deaf. And so now would be a good time to refresh that content and figure out, again, what are you offering your customers that they need in this time? How are you being relevant in this time? How are you understanding what problems and issues they're facing in this time? That can all be infused in your content. I'm not saying just talk about that. I'm just saying infuse it into your content and your creative so that they know you understand what's going on in their lives. Number five, if you haven't already started building community digitally around your company brand, now would be a good time to start. I think the best investment is building that social presence, building your email program, building your customer relationship program, even your media relations efforts if you do those before. Because what we see, particularly with our clients, which are mostly B2C, is they're closed right now, a lot of our clients. But when they go back, there will be complaints. You're seeing news stories about it all the time of people complaining about people not wearing their masks. We're forcing them to wear their masks. The better community you've built online, the more likely that community will come to your defense when people complain about you, good or bad. When they complain if your policy is too strict or your policy is not strict enough, those people will come to your aid. So now is a good time to start that if you don't already have that. Number 6, I'm talking to a bunch of entrepreneurs, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Address and innovate for customer needs and behaviors. So again, if the buying habits are different, are your selling habits up to speed? Are you creating things that your customer needs? You guys are all entrepreneurs, so you're probably already doing that. Number 7, I would spend some time leveraging like automation and other tech to deliver your content. So if you already have an email automation program, now would be a good time to build out more workflows, because doing that will save your salespeople some time, some manual time that they're spending right now on their emails. So now would be a great time to do that. And also if on your social media efforts, if you're having somebody on your staff run your social media efforts and they're not being strategic about it, you may be wasting your money. So I would leverage the technology that's available for you there. Again, it's not available to everyone. It's not the best for a B2B company as it is for B2C, but you should be looking at all the tools that you're using for marketing efforts and making sure that you're getting the most out of them. And number 8 is investment in measurement tools. Again, because we have a marketing analytics company, I obviously have to preach this, but if you're going to enhance your marketing strategy and your marketing investment, you have to be able to measure the results. And by that, I mean not just leads or new customer acquisitions or click to open rates, but in actual sales revenue. So you should find some tools out there, because there are many, that will connect your sales to your marketing investment. So you can determine what your return on your ad spend and your return on your marketing investment as you're building up that effort. So really that was it. I was trying to stay within my time frame, and I don't know if I'm supposed to pitch it back to.
I got you. I got you, Kim.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Next up, we have Cody Blake with Liquid Fish. Don't forget to unmute.
Got it. All right, so welcome everybody. I'm just gonna talk a little bit about search engine optimization. My name is Cody Blake. I'm the president of Liquid Fish. I've got 2 kids, Angus and Bo. I love music, food, and travel. I've been in EO since 2014, and I am the current Oklahoma City Learning Chair. And just to be clear, I actually don't play the accordion. There's just a fun photo. So, you know, when we talk about SEO, I don't know how to get, like how technical to get or how not technical to get. So I'm just going to kind of just go over from top to bottom, but the basics have been around since the beginning of, you know, search engine optimization. You know, so I've outlined some things here, and I can share this with you guys as really basic, but you know, you want to make sure that no matter what, you've got an SSL on your website. That's actually now a factor on mobile searches and desktop. So if you don't have an SSL certificate, you're not going to rank above someone who does. And so, you know, now you can get SSLs for free. There's really no point in not having them. Make sure your site has an SSL on it. Then there's a lot of different things technically here that you need to make sure and implement on your website if you are managing your SEO efforts yourselves. If not, then you guys really don't need to be worrying about this. But the basics here A sitemap tells Google what pages to crawl. A robots.txt file tells, again, the search engines what permissions they can and can't crawl legally from you. You know, monitoring your page speed is really important. We use a lot of free tools. Google Page Speed is one of them. You can literally go there, just type in Google Page Speed on Google, type in your website, and it'll give you mobile and a desktop score that you can use then to take back and, they give you also a list of, here's the 8 things that you need to improve on that are critical. Here's the 4 things that you should consider. They literally Googled themselves, who are, you know, that is the algorithm. They are telling you what you need to do just to increase your page speed. Now that's not a direct correlation to your search rankings. However, it is a ranking factor. Again, 404s, that is a broken URL on your website. So if you have an old page that was deleted, or if a website is linking to you from you know, an external source that you can't manage, another website is linking to you, and that becomes invalid URL, that is a 404. So we want to try and correct and monitor all of those on a website on a monthly basis to make sure that you're rerouting that traffic to a new correlating page that has very similar content. What a broken link is that is a link from your website to an external link to a page that no longer exists, or a 404. So it's the inverse of the 404. So, you know, then you can get into the basics at your page level. I think, you know, across any website platform now, whether it's Squarespace to WordPress all the way to complete custom, you know, these are the most basic SEO practices you can implement on a single page. Is that, you know, every page on your site should have a purpose. Every page should also have, when I say a purpose that you are trying to direct and get that user to take action on. And so what we do is, you know, follow this guideline. Is very simple, where you create, you know, your heading up top in your site or wherever it is on your page. The H1 is the most important piece of content on the site that Google's going to see immediately. So you don't want a keyword stack, but you definitely want to make sure that you have strategically implemented, you know, correct headings and content within the site's page that is speaking on and includes all of the keywords that you're wanting to try and rank for. So, you know, again, those are all the basic high-level SEOs. And so I really wanted to go a little bit deeper into that and kind of tell you what is probably a better approach to take when it comes to, you know, optimizing your website, because there's only so many things that you can do technically and content-wise even now to try and rank for different keywords organically. So, you know, another optimization practice is, okay, let's improve the user experience. And actually, over the last 6 to 12 months, Google's really modified their rankings based upon user experience, specifically for mobile, but more and more for desktop. And so, you know, it doesn't just come down to all of those technicalities we were talking about earlier, but it really comes down to just basic understanding of how to navigate a website. So I think all of us could visit a URL and we could figure out, you know, does this make sense? What I'm presenting to my potential customer, my current customer, my prospect, does this make sense for them to be able to enter the site here and get to the content that we are wanting to serve them, and take action on what we are wanting them to take action on? So, you know, again, kind of like Kim said earlier, start fresh here. You know, I would define a list of all the constituents that would be visiting your website, whether that's your, you know, current customer base, that could be your employees that you're trying to recruit, that could be your employees, all of that. So define all those constituents, and then define a goal that you want to map to each constituent group, and then just role play. It really comes down to acting as that user and then taking those practical steps to see, okay, can this user, am I incentivizing them enough to take action on what I'm wanting them to take action on? And is that easy enough to navigate to? If you just simply did that and nothing else, I promise you, you would have increased conversions on your website. Whether you should be tracking them, I hope you are, but if you just simply did that and implemented a simplification process from the time a user enters the site to the time that they take action, you will see a vast increase in conversions. And this is proven by the concept of landing pages. If you're familiar with landing pages, you know, you navigate to a landing page and literally all of the nav's completely stripped out. The content is serving only one purpose, and the only thing a user can do is take action on that one form that you've given them or that one video that you want them to watch, whatever it may be. So the whole concept of minimizing the user's journey really helps increase conversions. We do this through user flows. You know, that's literally just saying, okay, user enters here. You can even go one step before that and map out all of your referring sources, whether those are paid, organic, social, direct. But then, you know, mapping those into funnels within your website of how you want that user to navigate and flow. So it's really basic. A user flow is just literally one box after the next, identifying an experience that makes sense for each customer group. You know, the other big important ranking factor within websites is content. And, you know, it started out with blogs being a huge, you know, proponent for websites that were ranking high to continue to, you know, captivate that audience. Blogs became the thing because it was constant addition to websites. Google loves new content. But now you're seeing a shift from a blog to this concept of a content hub. And I'll talk on this for like 2 or 3 minutes. I don't remember what time I started, but you know, a content hub is really, it's the antithesis of what you think a website would be. A full content hub is a website that you navigate to. I'm going to show you one right now that is targeted to your audience, but has nothing to do with what you're actually providing them. So let me show you real quick. Can't find this browser. Well, I'm just going to navigate to this page. All right, so I pulled up some content hubs. Redbull.com, this is literally their homepage. You won't find anything about their product on this page. They have categorized content. They're constantly creating content that's solely appealing to their audiences. You see this across the board with American Express. They've started this massive content hub where all they're doing is putting out content for business owners to consume. Everything from strategy to hiring to, you know, marketing practices. Salesforce does the same thing. You know, makeup.com is L'Oreal's content hub. Nestle has a content hub. So the purpose of these content hubs is to be connecting and engaging with your audience in a non-traditional sales manner. You're really just providing them content that they want when they want it. All right, I feel like I really rushed and didn't hit hard on any one topic, but if you guys have any questions, let me know. Thanks.
Thank you, Cody. Up next, we have Vahid. Unmute. There you go.
Can you guys hear me now? Okay, can you guys hear me now? Perfect, perfect. I'm Vahid Farzana. I know many of you. I'm the founder and CEO of Freestock Creative. Started the company back in 2007. So I joined EO in 2018. I learned about EO from several of my friends. and mentors, people I know about that are in the group. And fast forward 2 years later, here I am presenting. So it's been 2 years in the making. Started Freestyle Creative in 07, and it started off in my master bedroom of my house. And in 2009, we actually got an office. So it's funny how we come full circle. Now I am working remotely from my house. So speaking of homes, Home Creations is our family business. I'm a partner there. My dad started the company about 36 years ago. And I remember seeing the company go from the master bedroom office corner to the largest home building company in the state of Oklahoma. So I've been very blessed to have seen that and be a part of it. And I've worked in the family business, marketing, sales, construction. So it's been a great journey. So again, thank you guys for having me. Freestyle Creative is a full service marketing advertising agency. And I feel like I'm going to bait and switch you guys a little bit. I know we talked about digital and pay-per-click, but I'm going to be talking a little bit about actually behaviors and understanding your target audience actually. So marketing tips and tricks. Most of our decisions are made subconsciously. And by that, I mean, people make decisions on an emotional level. And to be able to connect with your audience, you have to be able to connect with them on an emotional level. So storytelling is a good way for us to connect and resonate with your audience, connect and share core values. And then if you're able to connect with them properly, like Cody showed on the Red Bull website, I mean, it's all about the audience. They really get their audience, and you're able to inspire action. Are you guys able to see my screen? I'm just making sure I'm not.
Oh, no.
No, oh no, this whole time. Okay, let me desktop. Oh no, it's not letting me. Hold on. I apologize, guys. I apparently have to go into my settings to unlock a security feature.
There needs to be a term for these technology pauses, you know, whenever you, I don't know what you call them, but they're very anxiety filling. You know, people are waiting and
When you're supposed to check your cell phone.
Should we all just take a deep breath?
I think
Okay, there it is.
I don't think they count like they used to. I mean, if little kids and dogs are in your Zoom calls now, I just don't think
That's true.
stuff like that matters as much.
So it says it has to kick me off the Zoom to get back in. So I could either log out, log back in, or I could.
Well, why don't we do this? We'll skip to Chad, and then you can come in after him. How about that?
Sorry.
I said
Okay.
we'll skip to Chad, and then you can log out and log back in.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. I'll do that. Wait, hold on.
So Chad, you're up.
Did it actually just go through? Can you guys see my screen? It says why storytelling matters.
Oh, well.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
well, I don't know how that happened. Maybe I just didn't have permission. I didn't have permission. Sorry. Perfect. Thank you. Sorry for the confusion. So storytelling, why it matters, inspiring to connect with people. Chad, sorry about that. And then let me full screen it. Sorry. So by knowing your audience and finding your audience, you're able to connect with them. So in this example, we broke it down to 3 different categories: needs, money, interest, the target audience. So this is the primary target demographic would be in the center. And then there's 2 different secondary markets. And I'll show you an example of that in the next slide. So we did this for home creations. Our primary target demographic is the first-time home buyer. They have the money, the need, the interest. And then we have 2 secondary target demographics: empty nester, they have the money and need, but maybe the interest isn't there. So that might be an emotional connection. Maybe we could bring them in emotionally. And then secondary target demographic, trade-up home buyer. They have the money and interest, but maybe they don't have the need. They might, it might be an emotional decision that they want maybe a bigger house. So moving on to the layers. So understanding your audience, I broke it down to 4 layers. The first one is the demographic information. Second layer is behaviors. Third layer is attitudes and opinions. Fourth layer is personas, and who are they on a personal level. So first layer, the demographic information is your basic information. And Kim had mentioned this, but for Google ads or social media ads, this is some of the primary information that you would actually plug into the Google ads to be able to get it in front of the right people. So that's obviously a very critical element. Secondary layer, it's like peeling back from an onion. So as you get into the center, you're really gonna get to know your audience. How do they spend their time? Are they on social media more? Are they watching YouTube videos? Are they watching TV shows? Are they reading the newspaper? So getting to know your audience and what type of media do they consume, like I mentioned, and what information are they looking for? And then you got your third layer, which will be attitudes and opinions. What types of media content do they trust? Do they trust what their friends say, what someone says on social media, or do they trust the news? Just really getting to know them. And what are their feelings towards your brand? What are their pain points? And then fourth layer would be personas. Who are they on a personal level? It's one of my favorite ones, actually. Personality types. So we have the DISC profile. I'm sure many of you are familiar with that. We use it at our company a lot as well. But D-type personalities, whether it's through sales or marketing, they like to win. I's are more influenced on how they are perceived. C's like the accuracy, details, and information. And S's like consistency. So what are their values and what are their goals? So I'll bring it back to this Venn diagram and show you guys a quick example of what we could do what we've done for social media and how to connect with your target audience. And this is an example for home creation that we did. So your primary target demographic is the first-time home buyer. So there's the information, the radius, the age range, and then getting the image and copy that would connect with them and targeting it and getting it to the right people. Here's another example. And then you have your trade up home buyer. Again, some more information on them as well. Maybe they desire more space. That's an emotional. It could be they've grown a family, but a lot of times they're needing nicer features. And then here's an ad that would go with that. Another secondary target demographic would be an empty nester as well. And again, here's the information for that. And here's how one of those ads would look like. So it's pretty much, sorry about, I thought I had my screen share going, but that's technical difficulties. But I'll leave you with this last slide. We have this diagram of 4 different quadrants of earned media, shared media, owned media, and paid media, if you guys want to take a screenshot of it. But yeah, that's kind of it in a nutshell. Just want to talk about behaviors and emotions and how to connect with that with your target audience. So thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And bringing up the rear, in no particular order, would be Mr. Brooks.
Hey guys, Chad Brooks here. My company is ADS. We specialize in marketing to the automotive industry, franchise dealers in the United States and Canada. And our niche is to work to convert those leads to appointments. So kind of a front-end agency and then kind of a back-end lead conversion shop. And I very much appreciate, I don't know who put the agenda together, but I was reading through it and I was like, oh, I've got to figure out how to tell these people how to increase sales. Shit, that ought to be easy, right? So, you know, what I've learned is in studying the automotive space, right? So that's my niche. That's you know, we've been in business, be 13 years in August. And as everybody here probably is aware, the automotive industry has been affected particularly hard. But there's one manufacturer in particular, which is Hyundai, Hyundai Motor Company. They have been able to, they've been able to stay way ahead of every other major automotive manufacturer in terms of the reduction in their market share. And I thought it was really interesting because if you guys remember back in 2008, Hyundai came out with the Hyundai Assurance Program, right? So they really, it was a play on empathy, right? And they were the first manufacturer. They never technically got rid of Hyundai Assurance. But when the COVID happened, they retooled Hyundai Assurance. And even to this day, if anybody wants to go buy a Hyundai, they've got the policy that no questions asked in 90 days. If you lose your job, they're going to buy your car back. So I thought that was really interesting that particularly in a market that's been hit really heavy from COVID, that So what I think to talk about today is, selling right now is it's a mixed bag. A lot of the EO guys I've been talking to that are in my network, it's kind of, half of them's business are booming and then the half of them are reeling. And I don't know which half, the individuals are. I'm sure it kind of, hits the spectrum in both directions, but best I can tell, is that really the key to selling, I think right now, is selling with empathy and with some sort of assurance, right? So I think as a human, we're all a little bit concerned about what effect this is going to have, whether that be on our business or our family, our careers, our health. So even with our own clients, everybody's kind of looking for managing the downside on the risk opportunity. And I think there's a really valuable lesson that can be learned from Hyundai. And so I thought I'd share some thoughts and some notes with you guys on how to, I don't know that it'll ultimately increase revenues in these times unless you're in a market segment that kind of right spot at right time. What we've noticed in our organization is our higher ticket items are moving rather slow, right? But our lower ticket items are picking up traction. So if you have an opportunity to reduce or maybe balance your product portfolio to eliminate some of that upfront risk factor, I think that would be relevant, right? So to try to meet the clients where they are in terms of this whole pandemic business and kind of lead with that empathy and assurance. And I think some ideas on assurances could be, you could offer product warranty, right? Or a free trial, a money back guarantee. That may not be realistic for each business depending on the market that you're in. But ultimately, I think it's about trying to convey to your customer that you understand the situation that they're in. You understand that they ultimately still need to grow their business, and then trying to give them some sort of assurance or guarantees or warranties to eliminate the downside risk. And then the other thing I think is trying to find ways to increase the value of the products that you are delivering. So, as I thought through what to share, what I've seen that's worked, and I think Kim and even Cody may have mentioned it a little bit, but organizations that are able to reshift not only their marketing strategy, but also their sales strategy, their messaging. What is the offer? What is the hook? What problems are going to solve? It really needs to be relevant with the times, because every business has been affected in one way, shape, or form. So I think the key to come out of this isn't necessarily trying to sell with horsepower as much as it is trying to sell with a little bit of mercy or a little bit of grace. And so some of the things that, may be useful for you guys as you try to figure out how to increase revenue.
Thank you, sir. Emily, you got some questions for us.
So if anyone has questions, you can send them directly to me in the chat function, things related to sales and marketing in your company, and I'll process those through as we get them. So a first one that came up is for email campaigns, how does a company determine the best day and time to send campaigns out? Cody, Kim, Fahid, one of you guys want to take that?
Yeah, we don't do a whole lot of email, I'll be honest. For our clients, that's not our MO. So I can pass that question on.
Yeah, I can speak to that. And Kim's, I thought you were going to go, but
No, go ahead.
The experience we've had in the research we've done, Tuesdays and Thursdays, as far as time go, Tuesdays, Thursdays in the morning, first thing in the morning, like 7 or 8. But I've seen different for social media. I've seen like afternoon, emails in the morning. But I want to hear what Kim has to say. So.
Well, basically that just makes a case for measuring it. So, I mean, it does take some A/B testing to determine which audience open which email at which time. And so, yeah, that's just looking at the back end of your email automation tool and determining, oh, well, my, like Vahid was going through the personas. So that's my young family members that are looking first home buyers, they tend to open Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. Who knows why, but that's when they do. Okay, well, my 55 and older, they open at a different time. And so again, if it's a different market, you just have to look at the back end of your tool to determine what target market are you trying to hit and when are they opening it. And when are they not opening it? So you A/B test that and say, okay, well, they're not looking at it now. It's either the content or the time. So let's change those up and try again. It takes a little finagling for a little bit, and then you'll get it right, and it'll tell you when the best time is.
Awesome. Our next question is, how do you handle objections from clients?
Well, I love this one because this is what we do all day long, every day. So what we see a lot of clients want to do is delete the comments. And we never, ever, ever allow that unless they break the rules. And so what we see is clients don't post the rules. So if you have rules on your page, this is crazy that this works, but if you have rules on your page that we are going to delete your comment if you call out an employee, if you call out another in person, if you list any kind of personal details, if you cuss, if you blah, 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 we're going to delete. And then if they don't stick with those rules, if they disobey the rules, then we can kick them off and no one on the page will complain. But if you kick them off and they've said something negative, they'll just clobber you and say, well, you just deleted Vahid's statement because you're, and they'll paint you with a broad brush saying you're at fault and Vahid was right. So write the rules and then kick people off accordingly. Otherwise, you should answer all the complaints so that you can defend yourself to your broader audience. If the person continues to complain, take it off, DM them, just acknowledge the complaint always, because you're just dealing with that one person, but everyone else is watching you deal with that one customer, and that's what they're judging you on.
Awesome, super helpful. Okay, next question. This one is for Cody. If a local business, rather than a national brand like Red Bull, wanted to create a content hub like you mentioned, is it okay for them to consider that as a separate URL link that's less salesy? Or does that remove all the SEO link juice from your primary sales business site? What's the best practice for local entities? Content hub as a separate link or content hub within your main URL?
I love this question. Honestly, you can go both ways. And I'll explain why. And I know that's not an answer that anybody wanted to hear. It really intends on what's the intention of this content hub? Are you wanting to use it for sales, or are you wanting to use it to like engage with your audience? And it's not, think about it like this, your content hub, as far as ranking factors within SEO, you're probably not putting out a lot of content that is going to rank for keywords that you'd want to rank for within your sales. So in that being said, is new URLs are completely okay. It serves a different purpose with a different attraction method. Your content is what's attracting the audience, not what they're searching for to find your business. Does that make sense? Cool.
Yeah, I mean, no one's going to the Red Bull website to buy Red Bull.
Exactly. Right.
Thanks, Cody. Our next question. In response to COVID, we had to pivot to offer new services in order to survive. What strategies do you recommend to market these new offerings?
Could you say that one more time?
Yes. So as a result of COVID, we had to start offering new services in order to survive. What strategies should we use to market these new offerings?
Well, if you go back to Vahid's last slide, the paid, owned, earned, and shared, I mean, that's a great place to start. is to look at, all of the things that you own. You own your blog, you own your website. So again, create content that will change that up and write new content for the new product. But then look at the other channels and say, okay, earned is, who are the influencers out there that will talk about this product? Can I talk to them and they'll say something that will draw customers? Obviously, you have to determine what influencers, right? Because it needs to be the ones that you want to attract your customers to it. So yeah, it goes back to first point that I had, is build the strategy, right? Who do you want to be using the new product, and build a strategy around that. Do the personas, figure out what the messaging should be, figure out what the channels, and if you don't have a big budget, obviously use your own first, but earned is always good as well, because it gets your name out there quickly. And right now, particularly if the product, again, to Chad's point, has something to do that helps a customer right now in this pandemic period, then earned media will be huge on it, because people will want to know about it, and the media will definitely want a story on it.
I'd like to add to that, and Kim, that was fantastic. And during a pandemic, if your business you're pivoting to help, and I'll give you an example. During one of the tornadoes in Moore, there was might have been May 3rd. It's been a while, but one of our clients was a storm shelter company, and there was an issue with the schools in the tornado, and we were able to reach out to media outlets, and they did a story on the storm shelter. And this was a above ground that would slide in, tug in, and then it would expand storm shelter. So they were demolishing a school. I think it was in Little Axe, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere, and they were able to demolish this installed storm shelter. They demolished it on there. The news came out and covered that the storm shelter withstood that demolition, and they earned so much media from that, and we were able to track at least 35 units sold from that PR coverage. So earned media is very powerful, having your own platform, getting your voice out there.
Okay, last question. We have several customers that want to pause their projects. What is the best way for us to ensure that they don't stall and fizzle out? I actually have one more question after this too.
Yeah, so I'll take, I don't know, that's something we've seen a lot of, right? So we have a lot of our clients that, they want to hold, they want to delay, they want to, well, I still want to use you, right, next month, or once the dust settles and it blows by. So our strategy is communication, right? We're not going to guess, we're going to stay ahead of it. And that's what I would recommend. If a client is in a spot, maybe they don't know where they're going to be, or if they're going to be able to open up, or, there's so many different circumstances to think through. But I think the simple answer is communicate, right? Communicate with the customer and just ask them point blank, right? Is this a money issue? Do we need to reduce budgets, or, do we need to reduce shipping, or give you some term? And if you'll just communicate with them, they'll tell you what the problem is. And then you can determine whether that was the easy thing for them to say, or they actually do intend to stay, once their business normalizes.
Okay, our final question. The SEO stuff was awesome, but way over a brother's head. Two-part question. For us smaller businesses, less than $1 million in revenue, what's a good way for a novice to handle our own SEO stuff in-house? And if I am an idiot for even considering doing this on my own, since it's over my head, are there affordable and effective service packages to accomplish this?
So I'll first say anybody on the call is fully capable of implementing basic SEO onto their website. It's not rocket science, and it's probably way easier than anything you're doing to run your business, to be honest. I'll give a really good example. So here, first of all, let me answer the question. Moz.com has the most content out there. Neil Patel, Patel, unrelated to peach.com, that to my knowledge at least. He has a plethora of SEO resources. And when I say resources, these are actually online tools as well. So you pay a monthly fee. If it's just like for your website, the most basic version or middle tier version will probably work just fine. Or maybe $20 to $50 a month, depending upon what you find. Create an account. It'll run and scan and audit your website. It'll make recommendations that anyone can implement onto their website. For instance, Valerie started a new virtual assistant service to her company. Well, using like just basic SEO, she's now ranking on the first page. All she did was create a new page with proper titles, with proper H1s, with good content and a couple of good articles supporting that. And that was it. And of course, that's probably not a highly competitive keyword or phrase, but it just illustrates that still to this day, that can work. And the bottom line is it may not get you ultimately to where you want to be, but it will increase your organic traffic. I guarantee it.
Emily, you said that was the last question.
That's our last question.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Cody, Vahid, Kim, and Chad, I really, really appreciate your participating, and it was awesome information. Few things to wrap up on housekeeping. These will, we need you to rate the value on this poll so we can get some feedback on that. Next week, we're going to have the session on employees and teams. Same time, same bat time, same bat channel. Next, immediately after this, at the top of the hour, we will be having our virtual happy hour, so please stay on for that. And with that, I will bid you adieu. Thank you, guys.
Great job.
Thanks, Christian.